What's up, guys? Mason Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 14, Episode 23, Something Blue. So, this was a fairly enjoyable episode. There were parts of it that I'll talk about first that were a little bit but overall a good episode. So, first of all, let's talk about the case. Case was not that interesting. Guy dies aboard a ship. And so they put his body in the freezer while they're waiting for NCIS to come check it out. They get there, and then apparently nobody was watching the freezer. We never learned how that happened. But nobody was guarding the body. They just put a padlock on there. Somebody easily broke through the padlock, dumped the body in the ocean trying to hide it. But they weren't a very good rope tire, and so the body floated back up to the top. So they managed to inspect it, get enough information. The problem that I have with it is, overall it was an average NCIS case. It wasn't anything special, but the problem I have with it is there were only really 2 or 3 suspects. They didn't really give us a whole lot of people that it could possibly be. One of the suspects turns out to be the supposed victim. Like, he was the one that was being targeted, but he didn't eat the poisoned food, and so it ended up killing the guy that it did. So we were down to 2 at that point. One of them was named Herring. Is that supposed to be clever? Like, I don't know if they just thought, ooh, what if we named him Herring, guys? Like, ooh, wouldn't that just be so clever? Like, oh, we suspect you, but it turns out not to be him. But we suspect you again, but it's still not him. He's like a red herring. Oh, we should totally name him that. So, yeah, they suspect Herring once because apparently he was one of the worst at hazing the guy that died. Not him. And then they find out that apparently he was involved in drugs somehow, and once again, not him, because his name is Herring. Like, come on. even if a person was really named Herring in real life, I'd be like, I kind of suspect you, but at the same time, I feel like I'm supposed to suspect you. But it ends up being the only other guy that we really got introduced to, who was trying to prank the captain. Here's the thing. I've seen it way too many times on TV shows where it's like, oh, we're just trying to have a little fun. We're just trying to prank him, and it ends up with somebody dying. If any prank goes wrong and ends up in somebody's death, clearly you were not pranking them correctly. Like, if there's anything that you're messing with that might possibly end up with somebody dead, that's no longer a prank. That is negligence. That is attempted murder, even. Like, I don't know. It happens way too many times in shows. I'm just like, if somebody dies because of what you did, you can't just say, oh, we're just trying to have a little fun, and then the guy died, and yeah. Trying to have a little fun is you put, like, saran wrap over the top of the toilet, or you, like, put a little tripwire thing in front of the bed and Pie slaps him in the face, or some sort of Tom and Jerry invention. Like, that is a prank. Poisoning somebody's food and causing somebody to die, that's not a prank. So anyway, little frustration with the case, but all in all, it was an average case. The real part of this episode, though, of course, is we see McGee and Delilah talking about the wedding day. They're planning for it. We see McGee trying out tuxes. Kind of some fun being had there. We see he's trying on a tux, but it looks kind of like they even say it looks like you're going to your prom. And then out walks Torres. He's wearing like a black tux with a black undershirt, and they're just like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then out walks Clayton, and he's got like a white tux with a black bow tie, and it's like, oh wow. Just, I don't know, I love the little kind of sibling rivalry going on between Clayton and Nick. So I enjoyed that part of it. There were a lot of jokes being made. Some of them were funny. The one where Nick's talking to Quinn about, are you going to bring anybody? And she's like, oh, no. It's just too much stress to deal with bringing somebody along. It's like, yeah, I know what you mean. She's like, now, the guys that just go to scope out women, and Nick was just talking earlier in the episode about not leaving, or leaving with a +1. And he's just like, wait, now I've seen some relationships that have been, she's like, oh, psh, yeah, that hardly ever happens. Nobody's actually looking for one there. So I don't know, just some of the jokes being made were enjoyable. But just talking about the wedding is something I wanted to see more of. So we finally get more talking about it. I really enjoy McGee and Delilah together. It's one of the few relationships in shows where I wish it would get a bit more focus than it does. Only because they bring it up like 2 times every season. And I'm just like, I love McGee, and Delilah's like the perfect match for him. Why don't we see more of them? We just see like, oh, McGee and Delilah are together. Now let's not talk about it for 10 more episodes. So they're finally talking about it. I kind of figured it was sort of going to lead to, okay, the wedding is happening either sooner than it's supposed to, or it's going to happen in this episode. We end up seeing the wedding in this episode, of course. But of course, they also do kind of a little cliche thing where Delilah ends up passing out, and at the moment, it's just like, holy crap, what's going on? Is this a complication with a paralysis? Is something else happening? What is this? And so we see easily the best part of the episode. McGee's in the hospital. Gibbs comes to talk to him. The conversation that they have not only showcases the brilliant acting of Sean Murray, because we hardly see these actors get out of their comfort zones. Most of the time they're just playing the same character week after week after week. So in the episodes, like the Jimmy episode we had earlier this season, and then this episode, we get to see these characters go through a place that we don't normally get to see them go. And so we see McGee just extremely terrified and just scared of what might happen to Delilah. And we just see the worry, we see the concern, but you see the love that he has for her, you see all of it. He did such a good job in that scene, and seeing Gibbs talking to him and just trying to calm him down, but also talking to him like a father figure, it really, really worked. And I don't know what it is about episodes where one of the characters has a heart-to-heart moment with Gibbs, but most of the time those episodes are the ones that I really get behind. So getting to see that was really enjoyable. And of course, Delilah's fine, because frankly, if they had killed her off this episode, or if they had made it to where they don't have the wedding, or if they'd broken up at any point, I think a lot of NCIS fans would have rioted, because I can't be the only one that was looking forward to this. But anyway, we see that she is fine, so McGee goes in there and the doctor starts talking to him. It's just like, probably the stress added to your condition just made things a lot worse. My condition? What are you talking about? And of course, she's pregnant. It's something that almost every show nowadays does. Oh, you two are getting married? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, by the way, now you're pregnant. Just kind of out of nowhere. Okay. Why did you have to do that? You could just have them get married and then they have the baby later. No. You have to be pregnant before you get married, because that's the only reason anybody gets married nowadays, right? So I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it was a little cliche. That being said, though, they handled it very well, because despite the fact that it's a huge cliche, this is probably one of the most unique reactions to it that I've ever seen. And just all of it, because you're expecting McGee. Expecting what? It was so funny just seeing their reaction. They're both just so confused, like, what are you talking about? Like, everybody at this point is figured out, oh, she's pregnant. But the nurse just keeps, like, she keeps explaining to it in different terms, and both of them are just like, what are you talking about? I'm so confused right now. Until finally she's just like, you're pregnant. And then McGee just stands up and just, boom, just hits the door. Perfect reaction. Absolutely the perfect reaction to that moment. And only McGee could give you that reaction. So despite the fact that this is an extremely cliche moment, that reaction made it worthwhile. Seeing McGee and Delilah both confused, and then seeing McGee after he figures out he's going to be a father, well, bam, hits the door. Perfect. So that was all. It was really funny. And of course, they tell Abby first of all, and very nice moment where she's just really excited, jumps into the hospital bed with them. She's like, this is the best thing ever. So, just more. I really like the relationship that they've given to McGee and Abby at this point, because it started off as like, oh, they're together at the beginning of this show whenever they first started talking, and now it's almost like they're just brother and sister. And so I don't know, I really like the fact that this show, even though they have been together before, managed to make it to where they're still very close, but they're not together anymore. They're not romantically involved. So just seeing that, it pretty much is how a sister probably would react if she found out her brother and future wife are going to be pregnant. So enjoyed that scene, and then of course the case wraps up. Abby does tell everybody before they're supposed to know about the baby, but that's not the only thing they want to talk about because they wanted to have the wedding early. You know, everybody kind of saw this coming. Jimmy is the one that gets to be the Reverend, which makes it just, I don't know, something about making Jimmy the one that got the license to marry them makes it so much better. And he's just like, you can call me Reverend Jimmy. I'm like, psh, we are calling you Reverend Palmer. Are you kidding me? Like, all this time we've called you Mr. Palmer, now Dr. Palmer, now you're Reverend Palmer. You're just moving up in the world. So they marry him, and of course, you know, the entire time, Lying to Me by Science is playing in the background because it fits for them. That is the perfect song to describe this couple. It works. It's a very touching, sweet moment. So, all in all, this is kind of, there are a lot of cliches in this episode. You know, there are a lot of things that I've seen done over and over and over again in other shows and movies. But because I really love the NCIS cast, because I love this team, because, I mean, McGee and Delilah, like I said, really, really a strong, like, relationship, and a relationship that I can get behind. It's not one that gets a ton of focus. So, despite the cliches, all of this, you know, the amount of emotion that they pour into this episode, it really makes up for all the cliches. So, that's pretty much it for this episode. You know, I really did enjoy it, and obviously next week is the season finale, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this season is going to come to an end, because frankly, I don't really remember exactly what the overarching story is anymore, because they touched on it so little this season. But I'm assuming it's going to end on some sort of cliffhanger. It's already been renewed for season 15. 15 freaking seasons. I'm sorry, but that's just too much. I love the show at times, but 15 is too much. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this season's going to end. Hopefully it'll set up very well for the next season. Hopefully it'll be something interesting that I can really enjoy. But until then, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future NCIS reviews, and I'll see you at the next one.